welcome back to my channel. My name is Stephanie, and in this video today, we're going to be planning a unit study. So I've explained before, in our homeschool, we use unit studies for science and history. It just seems like it works better for us to do that. I have two children, one is 11 and one is 6. Obviously, that's a big gap there. They're both at different levels. But I found with these subjects, it's super easy to go ahead and plan a unit study and teach them generally the same thing. And then they each have their own specific work that they have to do at their own level. That seems to work very well. And so that's what we're going to do. So in this unit study today, we're going to be planning a human body unit. So for my youngest, the planning is going to include her typical science. I have another video where I'm talking about what I'm doing for her as like her core science. And basically, we don't use everything in its entirety. I pull in resources to our unit study that go along with our unit study. So she has a science from master books, and we're going to be using the sections in that science that go along with the unit studies we're using. So for example, human body, I'm going to be using the sections that go over the 5 senses in there to go along with our human body for her. That's just the way that I think it works best for us, because I do have two children of such a different age range. Now for my oldest, with her human body unit, obviously her main study is human body. And I do have this human body unit study from the Waldock way that we're going to be using to go through. And it's pretty cool. She is going to have the opportunity to dissect, as well as obviously learn about the human body. Now, I do have, in addition to this, for my oldest, she's 11. Obviously, we're getting into the puberty phase, so we also got the unit study Growing Up with God. It's 10 lessons. I got her level 2, and we're going to be discussing all things about puberty and her changing body, and we're going to be talking about the birds and the bees, and we're going to be talking about boys and all of those things that for her, this is the kind of age where it's appropriate to start talking about those things. So jumping right into planning a unit study. So on my blog post, I have this free unit study planner guide. And our first thing that we're going to do is my unit study. What am I planning? Well, right now, my unit study that I'm planning obviously is human body. So I'm putting down human body is my unit study that I am planning. So my first step when I plan my human body unit here is, do I have a core curriculum that I'm using for this? Well, yes, I do for this unit study. I am using the human body unit study from the Waldock way. I am for both of my children. So that's going to be my main thing that I'm using is this human body unit study from the Waldock way. So I'm just writing that down on my paper here, human body unit, and I'm just going to put in parentheses Waldock way. That way I know. And then for my oldest, so I'm going to write her name on one side here, and then I'm going to write my youngest name on the other side in this big open box here that I have. And I'm just going to put Avery, her specific stuff, any list is there. So for Avery, like I said, we're going to do Growing Up with God from Gather Around Homeschool. And then for my youngest, we're going to be using that master books unit sections on the 5 senses. And I might do some other ones in there, but 5 senses is one that I know that we're for sure going to do. Okay. And basically what I do is I get my main idea of what unit study I'm doing, and then I find main resources to use for that unit study. So when I move on to my resources section, obviously I have my main things that I'm using. I'm using the human body unit. For my oldest, I'm using Growing Up with God. And then for my youngest, we're using that master book science with the 5 senses, and there's some other ones in there we're going to use as well. So I have that planned out. So my next box here that I have is resources. So when I'm planning a unit study, the first thing that I do is I go around my house and I find items that we already have that I want to use. So for example, for my oldest, there is a read aloud. It is the American Girl, The Care and Keeping of You. This is book 1. This is for younger girls. Now I do have the other books as well for this one. So I'm going to be kind of tabbing, going ahead in this book. Like this section talks about acne, and I'm going to be marking specific sections. This one is body talk, where there's some questions from girls and some answers that the writer has answered some of the girls' questions. I'm going to be tabbing some of these for her to read. This is like an independent reading that's going to go along with this. And this is her responsibility. She's 11. When I say it's time for independent reading with this unit study, she's going to take this book and she's going to read the pages that I've marked. And obviously this talks about big changes. This talks about, you know, puberty and periods and all those things that, you know, are appropriate for her. So this is my one resource. So I'm going to write down under Avery's side over here, this book that I have for her for an independent reading is this Care and Keeping of You. And I think that it's so important to plan out unit studies like this because, you guys, if you don't plan stuff out, it just becomes chaos. So this is the main way that I start planning. So I start my overall plan and I write down stuff that I have, and then I go into my specific, okay, how many weeks are we going to do this and what are we going to do each week? But this is how I start planning my unit study. Okay, so I have that Care and Keeping of You book for Avery. So for Elissa, I have these 2 books, and I'll probably read these with Avery too. The first one is the Magic School Bus Presents the Human Body. So we have this read aloud book. And in this one, it goes into, here's the contents, excuse me. Inside the cell, skin and hair, bones and muscles, brains, nervous systems and senses, eyes, ears, mouth and nose, digestive system, blood circulation, heart and lungs, taking care of your body, incredible body facts, body experts, and words to know. So this one, we're going to go through each section as we are learning about that specific thing with our unit study. We're going to go ahead and read the sections in this book that correlates with it. So like when we do our brain section, we're going to read this about the brain. So that's how I'm going to use these books. So that's the first one. And this one is specifically about exploring the senses. So this book specifically will be Elissa's. This one I will use for both of them, obviously because it goes along with the whole unit. But this one is exploring the senses. This one's going to be Elissa specific. So while Avery's doing her independent reading book, I'll probably pull Elissa aside and we will read through this guy. And there might even be a Magic School Bus episode. So we'll get to that in a minute, but I just wanted to throw that out there. So for Elissa, we have the Magic School Bus Explore the Senses. And you guys, if you only have one child, you know, I would obviously suggest doing this too. But if you have multiple children, this is kind of easier to break it down this way. That's what I found is the easier thing to do, is to break it down this way. So I actually found this book. It is my first human body book. Now this one is kind of cool. It is kind of like a coloring book. And it also has some facts in there. So muscles, and probably I don't want them to necessarily color in it. So I'll probably copy pages if I want them to. And then it just asks questions like, can you figure out which muscle pulls the arm bones down when you straighten your arm? And then it shows you which one. So I found this book. I think this was given to me by one of either my mom, my grandma, somebody gave this to us. So I'm going to use this one. It's kind of cool. And it also gives them an opportunity to kind of maybe color while I'm reading. So this one's pretty cool. It talks about DNA and all about you and kind of goes through some facts. So this one's kind of fun. We'll probably use this as like a coloring page or an activity. As I said, obviously that goes along with whatever unit we're learning. So if we're talking about muscles, I'll grab the muscles page here and I'll print that off as a copy and they can color while I'm reading about it. So that is my next resource. So that book, obviously, I'm going to write down as my resource for both of them. So I have my specific ones on each side, you know, Avery and then Elissa. And then for both, I'm just going to write in the middle that I have this human body book for both. Human body coloring book, I guess. That might be what it is. And then I'm also going to write down this Magic School Bus human body. That way I know that that's going to be used for both of them as well. That's one of my resources. Okay, so the next thing I found is this The Amazing Human Body. I think I might have gotten this at Five Below, but I started planning already, guys. So you can see I marked tabs at the top. Like, this section is about the heart. So we will read this section about the heart when we're learning about the heart. And then I have the lungs here, page marked, that we're going to be reading and learning about the lungs. And then there's other sections in here, obviously. So when we do that section in the textbook, or excuse me, in the unit study book, we'll kind of read through here as well. So I'm writing that down as one of my uses for both of them is this Amazing Human Body. And you guys, we're not going to obviously read all of these books necessarily in their entirety. I'm just gathering these as resources because I don't necessarily need to go to the library and rent 40 books, or excuse me, or check out 40 books on human body when basically I have what I need as far as factually. If we go there and check out books on human body, I'm just going to grab some extra things like maybe germs or like movement, some other things like that. But I'm going to check my resources at home first before I move on to other resources. So I actually found this book as well. I think this little book here came with a different skeleton that we used to have, but we don't have it anymore. So this is talking about the brain and then goes into the intestines, the liver, and kind of shows you what it looks like and how it functions. And there's, you know, skin. Skin is actually a muscle, and it talks about that. And I do actually have, I'll show you one other thing. So I have this as well. That's going to be kind of being used for both of them. Like I said, I guess, obviously we're learning about the stomach. We're going to do that. And then I have this human body know and glow sticker book, a sticker activity book. So this is just a sticker book. I think I got this at Aldi. This will be for both of them. And it's an activity book that we'll be using when we learn about that specific thing. So this has 5 senses in here. So this is taste and smell. And then it has touch. So Elissa will be doing these pages, obviously, or we'll be doing them together with her because these are going to go over her 5 senses. So I haven't marked this book yet, but then some of the other things will be Avery's to do. I'm going to mark the pages individually for them. Like I said, I think you guys, I actually got this at Aldi, so maybe watch out for it when you see some of their books. It was great. I think it was maybe like $5. And then, so that's going to be for both of them. That's the sticker book. So I'm just going to write that down. And at this point, when I'm looking at my resources, I feel pretty good. But there might be some extra ones that I wanted to grab. So I have one last resource to show you, and then I'll show you what I do next. So I actually found this at, I think this was a yard sale or find or something. But this is the Smithsonian Human Body Exploration Station. So it actually has, in here it has stickers, and the stickers go along with this human body chart here, and you actually put the stickers obviously on there. And then it has the book, and it also comes with this little skeleton. So super fun, and we'll have this out on display when we talk about bones, obviously. And it shows you there's a little part in here for his brain, and we're gonna be doing this sticker thing. So as we learn about it, if we're learning about the kidneys, right kidney, left kidney, the brain, we're gonna put those stickers on as well. And that will be an activity that we do together. So in the morning when we start that unit, we're gonna be like, okay, we're learning about the brain today. So I will pick one of them to put the brain sticker on here. I'll pick one of them to put the brain sticker on. And obviously it shows you the nervous system, skeletal system. Nerves are over here. And so that's gonna be how we're gonna use this, because it does have stickers in there. We'll put those stickers on. So I'm just gonna write down here the Smithsonian sticker human body exploration station. So now after this, after I've gone through my house and seen what resources I have at home, so my first is I pick my unit, I find my resources at home, and then my third step here is I'm gonna go ahead and say, okay, what are any videos that might go along with these units? So I'm gonna look at YouTube, I'm gonna look at Netflix for like the Magic School Bus. I'm gonna use Magic School Bus. I do have some Magic School Bus. I have like one of the seasons downstairs, but sometimes it's just easier to grab them on Netflix and write them down. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'll look up videos. Okay, so I'll create a playlist on YouTube. So I'm gonna create a playlist on YouTube, and then I will take a look in my human body here. I'm gonna grab out the teacher's manual, teacher's guide, or table of contents here. So I will show you. This is my table of contents. So I can see, okay, our first one is the history and anatomy, or let's say we'll start with the skeletal system, or whatever one I want to start with. And I don't have to go in order, obviously. I will pick one to start with, and then I will pick a playlist. So let's say the skeletal system. So for my playlist, I'm gonna have a human body is what I'm gonna make my playlist called on YouTube, so that I don't lose it and I know what it is. And then I'm going to go ahead and find things about the skeletal system. Or just human body in general. I don't have to pick specifically. I can just go through on YouTube and I can find specifically just the human body. So I'm gonna do a screen record so you can actually watch me do that.
So in this clip, you can see me, I'm going through and I'm finding some videos that would work with our human body unit. Sometimes you can't save them if they're like kids content. I know that can get a little tricky, but sometimes you can. So just keep trying to click that save button if you find a video, and then I'm sure that you'll be able to find ones that you can save. Otherwise, you can just write down titles and like them and make a mental note. Here I've just found actually some other people that are doing some human body unit studies. That's not really what I wanted to search for, so I'm going back up to the search bar. Perfect. Now it looks like I did find some videos. There's National Geographic one, and there's some other ones there. So I'm actually going to go in now, and I like this video, so I'm going to go ahead and save it, and I'm going to find my playlist here. Perfect. Human body. I click it, and then you can see that it is saved to that one. I'm just going to look and find some other ones here that might go well, and then later I will come back and I will go through these videos and see which ones I like and which ones I don't, and then I can come back and remove ones I don't like or ones that are maybe not very interesting or are appropriate, and yeah, and then I can delete them later. So I'm just continuing to save videos to my playlist, and then when I go back to my channel later, then my videos will be there and we can watch them. So that's pretty simple on how you do that. You just create a playlist under your name, and then you go in and you start saving these videos, and that's really how you do that. And you just have to make sure you don't lose your list.
Okay guys, so you've watched me. I went through YouTube and I just liked a bunch of videos that I thought would be good. So later I will go back and I will go on my desktop and I will create a playlist and I will add all of those in there. Now, one thing that's actually really nice about the human body unit that the Waldock Way has done is that in the beginning of her unit study, she offers you some unit study resources. And these are clickable links. There are a bunch of videos here. There are hands-on activities, games, and books that she would recommend that goes on. So this is kind of all the extra stuff that I would start digging into to see if I wanted to use it. Obviously, there's videos here. I'm going to go through and I'm going to grab on my computer, I'm going to grab the PDF version of this so that I can click through here and see if there's any ones I want to add to that YouTube playlist. There are some hands-on activities that I can see if I have any interest in doing with my kids. There's some extra books that I could get from the library if I wanted. And then there are games that also I could either A, check at the library, B, check out Goodwill or any of that. So that's pretty awesome here. And one other thing that's actually included in her unit study is the fact that she has some human body sensory stuff. So she has an idea for a sensory bin and how to set it up. It's a fantastic unit study. She has the sensory bin, how to set that up, what you need. And then she also includes Play-Doh mats. So this is a PDF. So what I do with this is I printed off the Play-Doh mats and I'm going to laminate them. And so when we do like the skeletal system, my daughters can go ahead and they can like do the Play-Doh of the skeletal system. Kind of cool. I think it would be super fun. It's going to be super fun for them to do that. She has also included this game, Roll a Skeleton game in here, and there's also a trivia. This is just a really awesome unit study. So that's kind of how I start with my planning with this. You guys, I have my unit study planner sheet. I go ahead and first thing I do is I find my main thing, which for us is going to be this human body unit. This is my main thing that we're using. That my daughter has the Growing Up with God, and my youngest has the Extra Master books that are her age appropriate. I find any resources I have at home, and then I go through and I find any videos that I want to do. And then my next thing and my kind of final thing is I go ahead and I find craft ideas or sensory table ideas, like any kind of hands-on activities. So any hands-on activities, I go ahead and I plan those and I write those down that go along with what we're learning about. So usually for a sensory table, I'm not going to change it up. I'm just going to do, maybe I'll just do like water beads with some different like hands-on like doctor stuff in there. We have stethoscopes, so maybe I'll throw that in there. I'll throw some body parts in there or some laminated cards or something that talk about specific body parts. I don't know. That's why there's Pinterest. If you want to go see what maybe we're going to do, I'll have a Pinterest board with human body and a bunch of stuff with sensory table stuff and hands-on activities and crafts. I'm sure we'll do crafts like the lungs kind of thing with the balloons. I'm sure we'll do that. That sounds super fun. So I write all of those ideas down. And then I write down any books we want from the library. So any library books that I might want to check out. So I know I want one on germs because I don't have any books on germs, and I'm sure we're going to talk about that. So I want a book on germs. I'm going to write that down now. And then any field trip ideas that we might want. For human body, I'm not really sure that I have any like field trip ideas for this unit. But I think our theme for next year, like our one special thing, is we're going to try to do field trips. Every year I'm going to pick one special thing to focus on. And this year is going to be field trips. So I'll talk about that in another video. But so that's kind of how I plan my unit study. I pick my main resource. I split up separate resources for my kids if they need something more age appropriate for them. I find resources around my house. Then I find and create any YouTube playlists or write down any shows or movies that we might want to watch. I picked craft ideas, and then obviously I go ahead and write down any extra library books that we might want as well. So that's how I plan my unit study, and then when I'm all done, I throw it in a tote and it's ready to go. What I will also do in an extra, just to take it a step further, is obviously I go through and I break down how many weeks we're going to do this. And then, guys, I won't necessarily use this in its entirety. I might just pick out like 5 or 6 sections that we want to focus on. But obviously that's super in depth, and that's just up to you. That's will be up to me and what I decide. That's up to you and what you decide in your homeschool. But to give you an overall basic breakdown of how I plan unit studies, this is it. I hope it was helpful for you. And if you want to check out my blog page, I do have this unit study planner sheet on there. And it has resources and all broken down by step. And I hope it was helpful, and go grab that if it's helpful to you. I'll try to link it in the video below as well. Thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.